with that. You don't know if justice is going to be served, and so all that's going through your mind, and we're thinking how we can make a difference here.
Call to action: how Cleveland sports teams are joining forces to help fight social injustice across Northeast Ohio, and reaction to the movement from the Browns today.
This is not going to go away. Right? People now are outraged. Black folks, white folks, they're outraged.
Giving this perspective, analyzing the historic implications of professional players using their platforms. School reporting: the order from the governor on how districts should release information when students test positive for COVID-19. The latest on Hurricane Laura: the damage left in the wake of the strongest storm to hit Louisiana in 164 years. And bathroom trends: what's new in remodeling designs for one of the most important rooms of your house. What's New starts now.
And now, live from WKYC Studios, this is What's New.
Good evening, friends. Thank you so much for choosing What's New on this Thursday afternoon. Mr. Mike Polk is in for Jay for the next couple of days. Mike, always good to have you with us.
Very happy to be spending time with you from way across town, and we have a lot to talk about today, don't we, Betsy?
We definitely do. We have a severe thunderstorm that continues in Trumbull County. That's just about to move out of Trumbull County into Pennsylvania. But we're going to start today with the latest on what's happening in a new movement that's growing within the sports industry. Players using their platform to push for social change. The groundswell began in the wake of the shooting of Jacob Blake 4 days ago in Wisconsin. A police officer shot Blake, a black man, in the back. His family says he's now paralyzed. Last night, the Milwaukee Bucks made the first move, boycotting their game. Then the dominoes fell. Players from the MLB, WNBA, and other sports teams have now joined them in solidarity. That includes Cleveland's teams. Today, the Browns, Indians, and Cavs all announced they are aligning to stop social injustice. The teams want to use their platforms to improve relationships between law enforcement and citizens, and they also want to encourage nonpartisan voting activities. And they'd like to increase opportunities for quality education for everyone. We have team coverage on this tonight, and Brandon Simmons is putting this into historical perspective. But first, the voice of the Browns, Jimmy Donovan, is live from Berea, as the Browns are not wasting time on how they are hoping to make a difference. Hi, Jimmy.
Hi, Betsy. It's been a day out here in Berea, I'll tell you, and it still is going on right now. The Browns players are meeting after they shortened practice today. They practiced for an hour. It was scheduled for 2 hours, but they said to their head coach, hey, listen, we need to talk. And he agreed with that, and so he allowed them to cut practice short by 1 hour and use the second hour to go into the field house behind me, and that's where they are right now. And what they're talking about is this new alliance that you were speaking about that has been put together. This alliance has been in the works since really the spring, really about the time of the George Floyd shooting in Minneapolis, but now heightened because of what's gone on in Wisconsin. The alliance is between the Browns, the Indians, the Cavaliers, their front offices, their coaching staffs, and their rosters of players to get together to try and help social justice and stamp out injustice in society in their own neighborhoods right here in Northeast Ohio. They want to start primarily with number one. Let's get a better relationship between law enforcement and our citizens. And if they can do that, they think they're on the way. Myles Garrett became the spokesperson for the Browns today as he met with the media. He said he is going to personally reach out to the family of Jacob Blake in Wisconsin and express his condolences and what they're trying to do here in Cleveland. Kevin Stefanski, the new head coach of the Cleveland Browns, endorsed what his players wanted to do. And so right now they're sitting around talking over what can be a change.
You don't know if justice is going to be served. And so all that's going through your mind, and we're thinking how we can make a difference here and keep that from happening. And that's kind of why we've abbreviated it, and why we're trying to all sit down in a group and brainstorm how we can keep things like that from happening. What can we do?
So that meeting's been going on for about 40 minutes after they had a practice. Now, a lot of people are saying, wow, they cut down their practice. But I'll tell you what, They had probably their best practice so far in the training camp. They were really dialed in. That's the football side of things. It shows that they were dialed in, and what a big day it is here in Berea and across the NBA and Major League Baseball, too. Betsy, back to you.
Well, on the field, off the field, it's all about team, and those meetings become a very important part of solidifying team. Thanks so much, Jimmy, for that. Late this afternoon, President Trump was asked about the NBA protests while he visited FEMA. He said he doesn't know much about the protests, and then he added, quote, "They've become like a political organization, and that's not a good thing. I don't think it's a good thing for sports or the country." End quote. He's, of course, referring to the NBA at that. Well, this is definitely a moment in history that will be remembered. That's where our team coverage picks up. Brandon Simmons spoke to a historian and former NBA player about the stance athletes took yesterday and today. And Brandon, how significant are these actions?
Well, what we saw yesterday from players will likely become a very historic moment where a social issue stopped American sports right in its tracks. Now, many are saying it's a historic moment similar to the Black Power salute given at the 1968 Olympics. But this protest by major league athletes, according to former NBA player Brad Sellers, is a major stance on a major problem as Black people continue to become victims of police brutality. Now, he says pro athletes are no different than those in the community, except that they are employed in jobs that have higher visibility than most. They sympathize and empathize with the communities they come from and have finally had enough, willing to walk off the court to send a message that they hope will lead to reform.
What people want is equal protection as agreed to in the law. So this is not going to go away, right? People now are outraged. Black folks, white folks, they're outraged, right? Because as a country, we are better than this.
Now, Kent State University historian Dr. Elizabeth Smith Pryor says people are enraged because this feels kind of like a deja vu moment where nothing has really changed since the death of George Floyd. She says that's similar to the way things played out in the 1960s and even back in 1919 in Chicago. And in a way, she says those century-old problems persist in that we haven't fundamentally reconsidered how we do policing in our country. Now, until we address that issue head on, these Jacob Blake type incidents will unfortunately continue to happen, as well as this continued fight for change and equality, Betsy.
All right. Thank you so much, Brandon. Very important movement happening, and hopefully it does make some changes. Appreciate that. Well, now on your feed at 5, the state reported 1,244 new COVID-19 cases overnight. That's about 200 more than the day before. However, today Governor Mike DeWine said that the number of counties at level 3 is the lowest yet, with just 6 counties now at level 4 in red. Laura Queso watched the presser today, and Laura, Governor DeWine also issued an order today to make sure that schools are reporting COVID-19 cases quickly. Now, I can tell you this is parents' greatest, thing that they have been requesting. Please tell us how we will get information on what's going on inside those schools. So how is this expected to work?
Yeah, I know so many people are so eager, right? Well, the governor announcing just a few hours ago, he's requiring Ohio schools to establish COVID-19 reporting systems. In a new order from Governor DeWine today, schools will be required to inform the public about any cases in students, faculty, or staff members. Schools also have to have a reporting mechanism for parents. This could be a letter home, an email, even a text message. This should happen, he says, as quickly as possible. Cases also have to be reported to local health departments, who will then report those to state and then the media.
We just feel that the more information that is available out there, the better. And let me just maybe state the obvious. If a community has widespread or has spread, and every community has some spread of the COVID, that will be reflected in the school.
The governor says it is up to the local health departments to then notify the Ohio Department of Health on a weekly basis about new reported cases in schools, as well as the cumulative case data for students and also school staff. Now, DeWine says the data will be posted every Wednesday on the state's coronavirus website. Betsy.
Well, it is good information to have, certainly, and we appreciate you bringing it to us. Thanks so much, Laura.
Sure.
We turn directions now to the south, where Hurricane Laura is still a tropical storm, but not before hitting Louisiana and Texas as very early this morning as a Category 4 hurricane. Wind gusts reached up to 150 miles per hour. NBC News is reporting the storm has killed 3 people in Louisiana. Meanwhile, in Texas, Governor Greg Abbott is cautiously optimistic.
When you consider the magnitude of the damage that could have occurred here, we did dodge a bullet.
Well, more than 800,000 in Texas and Louisiana and Arkansas are without power tonight. President Trump says he will visit the hard-hit areas this weekend. Of course, we do want to keep an eye on that storm as it continues to churn northward. We'll get the desk out of the way here, show you the very latest on this thing as it continues to move into Arkansas right now. The storm basically begins falling apart as soon as it leaves the water and goes over land. So we're seeing the storm decaying still, but it's just a testament to how much power this thing had that it is still producing widespread flooding and tropical storm force winds all the way into Arkansas at this hour. As the storm is expected to continue to move northward, it's going to bang into a cold front that we are expecting here. So we'll talk more about that coming up, but still 50-mile-per-hour winds associated with this storm, and it's going to continue to kind of sit there in the mid-Mississippi Valley. Certainly a very long night for those folks. Well, it's also going to be a very big night for the Republican National Convention that is coming up tonight. President Trump will be making his case to be reelected from the White House, which is an unprecedented move. Our Russ Mitchell, a veteran of the convention beat, joins us now. And Russ, what can voters expect to hear tonight?
Betsy, those who have seen the president's speech say it's basically Donald Trump's greatest hits, a sequel to his 2016 acceptance speech here in Cleveland, where he said, "I alone can fix it." The Associated Press has released some excerpts of the speech tonight. Let me read you a part of one. This is what the president is going to say tonight, in part. At the Democrat convention, you barely heard a word about their agenda, but that's not because they don't have one. It's because their agenda is the most extreme set of proposals ever put forward by a major party nominee. So not surprisingly, the president expected to go after Joe Biden very hard tonight. Also, we understand the president is going to make an appeal to African-American voters. Right now, he's polling at about 3 or 4% on that front. Yesterday, I spoke with longtime supporter of the president, Dr. Darrell Scott, the pastor of the New Spirit Revival Center, and I asked him, what does the president have to say to get more African-American votes?
I think the messaging that President Trump has to do is to just repeat and reiterate the accomplishments that he already has: criminal justice reform, prison reform, historic funding for HBCUs, opportunity zones, and then let the Black community know that there are some other major initiatives that we're working on that are going to be very, very positive for the community. I would love to announce them tonight, but we're dotting the I's and crossing the T's, and I don't want to announce before the White House does.
And we haven't heard anything about those initiatives as of yet. By the way, Pastor Scott is going to be at the White House tonight as the president makes his acceptance speech.
Well, we know it's all about the lineup. So who's speaking before the president tonight?
Well, a number of folks, as you can imagine. This is the big night. Some of the key speakers tonight will include Housing and Urban Development Secretary Ben Carson, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, and the president's daughter and White House advisor Ivanka Trump, and the president's attorney Rudy Giuliani, of course, the former mayor of New York City. Interesting that the president is making this speech from the White House. As you said, this is unprecedented. Democrats say that's a violation of the Hatch Act. You're not supposed to do that, according to them, mixing politics with a campaign. But the president's ethics office at the White House has looked into this, and everything is okay. Of course, our coverage begins here on air at 10 o'clock tonight. We'll have a complete wrap-up, including local reaction tonight on what's next.
Yes, we will. Thanks so much, Russ. We'll catch up with you again in just a couple minutes. Well, Democratic Vice Presidential candidate Kamala Harris blasted the president's handling of the coronavirus in a speech in Washington just this afternoon. She also praised protesters and lambasted those who loot or cause damage to businesses. Joe Biden also made the rounds on cable networks today. Mike?
Now on to show us something good. It doesn't start off great, but I promise it has a happy ending. The Cleveland Police Department posted on Facebook that a woman reached out to the department saying that her neighbor's bike was stolen. While they didn't find Sean's bike, they worked with the owner of Recycler to get him a brand new one. Now he's back on the road and riding in style. Nice, that's a good story.
That is a great story. Love that. And certainly those recycled bikes are a very, very cool way, nifty way to save a few bucks and still be able to get on the road.
That's where I got mine, honestly. I got mine used. I know that I'm not like necessarily a professional biker or anything like that, and I don't deserve like a brand new bike. And I love it. I love my bike, and I've been using it a lot more since this pandemic thing. So that's one good thing, I guess.
It is a very good thing.
Yeah. Still ahead on what's new, the summer's hottest, most semi-obligatory fashion trend is the face mask. I'll tell you how I wear them while staying on brand.
There you go. And Cedar Point needs you. Which positions that they're trying to fill. And of course, we're going to take a look at the forecast too, the very latest on Laura and our weekend straight ahead.
Well, there's just no getting around it, folks. Face masks are going to be a part of our lives for the immediate future. And while masks might hide our faces, that doesn't mean that we have to let them hide who we are. Here's how I decided to approach this unfortunate situation. So, here's the thing about the masks. I don't enjoy wearing them. I don't think anybody does. But I think it's the right thing to do, so I do it. But if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it my way. Once we got a few months into this, I just stopped pouting about the whole, oh, we gotta wear masks thing, and I just decided to own it, get weird with it. Personally, I don't understand why most Americans are being so uncreative about the masks that they're wearing. I mean, if we gotta do it, you might as well have some fun with it. See, I think it's a good opportunity to express yourself, or maybe escape your reality for a while, be who you wanna be. You know, some people might be asking, but Mike, are these goofy Halloween masks that you're using actually as effective as the more traditional masks? And the answer is, I don't know. Probably not. That's why, just to be safe, I like to incorporate a standard mask underneath my mask. Probably a little redundant. It does make it even harder to breathe. But these are the sacrifices we make. The main reason that I wear the masks that I do is just in a spirit of defiance, you know, against the virus. It's just kind of my way of saying, okay, COVID, you know, I accept that you're real and that you're dangerous, and I'll do what I have to do to protect myself and others, but I won't live in fear, and you won't stop me from being who I am or living my life as I choose to live it. Plus, it's just a really fun way to creep people out in the name of public health. We all cope in different ways. Hang in there, folks. Stay safe and stay weird. This is Mike for 3 News.
That's our guy.
I just want to make it clear, Betsy, that I did not have to buy anything to shoot that. I already owned everything that we used in that.
Does that include the fanny pack that you paired nicely with the Spider-Man outfit?
Hey, you know, if you notice, those were carpenter jeans, and I had a braided belt on, too. I'm messing around when I'm half dressed up as Spider-Man walking around town. It's not my style.
So impressed. And yes, the masks, those kind of masks may work because obviously the social distancing is not going to be an issue for you when you wear that. So you got it.
No one comes anywhere near me.
Hey,
yep.
Perfect. All right. Well, let's take a look at what's happening with this forecast, everybody. We got storms that are going on here in Northeast Ohio. Just had a new severe thunderstorm warning issued for Portage County. If you are going to be getting out this evening, keep in mind we do have these pop-up thunderstorms that are hanging around. Temperatures are going to be in the 80s, and it is muggy, like brutal mugginess going on. There's the storms. There's severe weather out to the west of us, and of course the storms that we're talking about farther to the east. It is just the southeast corner of Portage County that we are talking about for this particular severe thunderstorm warning that will almost be over the border here over into portions of Mahoning County in no time. But right there, just this little tiny corner, 224 down toward the 14 area. So 14 224, and I believe that's Deerfield. Is that where the roundabout is, but anyway, there it is, see? And that, of course, that continues out to the east. So Deerfield getting a nice bit of rain right now. That will then continue to move off to the southeast and really is a good gully washer. Other than that, some other boomers going on farther to the west, southern portions of Summit County. That's heads up for you, Meg, one of our producers sitting in the booth. Said her grass is getting a little bit brown. Hopefully you're getting a good quenching there. That includes Portage Lakes back over to the Doylestown area. And then we also have some spotty storms going on out toward Wellington and Grafton and portions of southern Lorain County. So just scattered storms, nothing terrible, but it does look like we have high wind gusts threat that will be coming along with that. And it's going to be pretty loud too. Dew points are in the 70s, everybody. You probably already knew that. It feels disgusting out there. Air temperatures are in the upper 80s, but it feels like it's in the mid 90s at this point. There's the circulation from the storm. That's what's going on with Laura. You can definitely pick out how the wind is flowing into that. What's left of Laura continues to churn throughout Arkansas. It's going to come a little bit farther to the north. At the same time, a cold front is coming south. So that is really going to be a huge part of the forecast as far as how the storm is expected to behave. As of right now, it will continue to decay. So we're expecting it to continue to weaken. Still has 50-mile-per-hour sustained winds with gusts to 65. The storm will be taking a right-hand turn. It does not like the cold front. It's going to avoid it. And as it moves back out over the water here off of the East Coast, it could re-intensify a little bit. That's a little interesting tidbit, but for the most part, it looks like Laura's remnants will be missing us. National Designer hour-by-hour forecast has some isolated storm chances this evening. Then we're going to do it all over again tomorrow. We are going to be having periodic rain and storms tomorrow. Temperatures still expected to be well into the 80s. Keep in mind, we may still have some severe weather chances. The humidity, though, will be going down once we get to the latter part of the weekend, so things are going to be looking a whole lot better for us in your Universal Windows Direct forecast. Matter of fact, low 70s on Sunday, but right back into the 80s as we head through next week. Mike?
Thanks, Betsy. That looks downright heavenly. Next on What's New, Mapleside Farms is reopening. I love that joint. What you need to know before you head to Northeast Ohio's cherished gem.
Mic check, 1 2 1 2. Hopefully it doesn't sound like I'm, I don't know, in a cave. Oh, I was like, wait, do I need to unhook it? Don't scare me like that.
Welcome back, folks. It's time to see what is clicking in Cleveland. And for that, we go to our digital anchor, Stephanie Haney. Hello, Stephanie. I understand that you are going to tell us about some jobs with some interesting perks. Is that true?
That is true, Mike. Cedar Point needs workers for its Tricks and Treats Fall Fest coming up here in just a couple of weeks. They need workers for snack stands, for running the rides, security, and more, and they are offering pretty nice perks. Workers can get free housing and food, free access to the park when you're not working, and free tickets for family and friends. Go to WKYC.com for how to apply. In another push for social justice, LeBron James is launching a multi-million-dollar campaign to recruit poll workers. It's called More Than a Vote, and it focuses on Black communities across the U.S., including here in Cleveland. James said there are a lot of people who grew up in the inner city who are afraid to vote, and he wants to give people the tools to do it. One way to do that is to make sure polls are staffed up so people can get in and out safely on Election Day. Part of this is a corporate partnership to help employees volunteer on November 3rd. And if you were worried about Mapleside Farms reopening, don't, because it is, and they are taking all kinds of safety precautions. They have an 11-point COVID-19 safety plan. The Fall Fest kicks off September 19th, and opening weekend is Princess and Pirates weekend. How great is that? Now, what you see here is Mike checking it out last year. Those tickets go on sale on Tuesday. You need to get those in advance. The Pumpkin Village will be there. They'll have the corn maze, they'll have the orchard tour, and Mike, that slide that we see you going down there in that tuxedo, that'll be back too. Masks required, of course, but it sounds like you have that more than covered. Yeah.
Boy, I remember that. I got a tuxedo wedgie to beat the band out of that thing. I'll tell you that. Thank you, Stephanie. Appreciate it. Still ahead on what's new, we have your reaction to the Cleveland sports teams working together to stop social injustice. And Amazon has a new fitness tracker, and it can read your emotions. Oh, that's not horrifying. Plus, we share what's new with bathroom renovations. Stay tuned.
And now, live from WKYC Studios, this is What's New.
Welcome back to What's New, everybody. Happy Friday Eve to you. I'm Betsy Kling. Mike Polk is in for Jay today and tomorrow. So, Mikey, how you doing so far? Hanging in there?
I'm doing great. I really am. Until I read this next story, which gets pretty weird. So, I mean, obviously, though, we've got a lot to talk about. I've got a story about Amazon coming up in this new smartwatch that's really freaking me out. But please, by all means, you begin.
Well, we are going to start with the top talker that we have happening today. Our Cleveland sports teams are taking a stand. The Browns, Indians, and Cavs are joining together to take on social injustice in Cleveland and around Northeast Ohio. In a release, the team said they will use their platform to improve relationships between law enforcement and citizens. They also want to encourage nonpartisan voting activities, so get out the vote, and increase opportunities for quality education for everyone. Today, we talked to former NBA player Brad Sellers.
You're not going to tell me that 2020 is the same as 1962 when I was born. It's just not, right? But that doesn't mean that there aren't issues that need to be resolved.
Well, we also want to know what you are thinking about all of this. Our digital anchor, Stephanie Haney, is here to fill us in on how fans are reacting. Hi, Steph.
Hi, Betsy. Fans were really kind of all over the place on this one. It is clear that some people still only want sports from their athletes, while others fully supported the alliance and think that it's exactly what we need right now. There are still those who think professional athletes should not discuss current events publicly, like Mateo Bogman, who says, in season, I think they should just stick to sports. Some people want trophies before the players speak their minds, like Allie Stover, who says maybe they should work on some championships before they use their sweet skills in politics. That didn't make sense to Jesse Unk, who replied asking Allie, why would anyone value championships over equality? She didn't respond. Jordan on Twitter thinks this is great, writing, that's major. This is what protesting does for all those questioning boycotting. Dave Kay says he's waiting to see how this will improve the injustice, poverty, and legitimate crimes being committed, while the majority of these athletes are guarded and live in gated communities. He is hoping that this makes a difference. And Christy clearly loves the idea, tweeting a bunch of heart emojis. And there were quite a few short and sweet comments like, I like it, excellent idea, Betsy, along those lines. And in the sports community, this is really being celebrated.
All right, Stephanie, thanks so much. We always love hearing from our folks who are keeping an eye on things on social media. Well, we turn directions now. Russ Mitchell is here with a look at some of the other big stories making news today. Hi, Russ. And I hear something is going on with the CDC.
That's right, Betsy. The CDC director now backtracking on the previous COVID-19 testing guidance. A statement released by the director now says all close contacts of confirmed or probable COVID-19 patients may consider testing. Recommendations Monday suggested that those exposed to coronavirus do not necessarily need a test unless they're having symptoms or are older or otherwise medically vulnerable. A man is dead after a high-speed chase ended in a three-car crash off I-90 in Avon this morning. Troopers say a car they pulled over took off and reached speeds of more than 130 miles an hour. That car then got off the freeway and crashed. The driver died. The passenger is in the hospital. Hurricane Laura, as Betsy told us, is now a tropical storm headed through Arkansas. The storm made landfall in Louisiana near the Texas border overnight as a Category 4 storm with maximum sustained winds of 150 miles per hour. It made Laura the most intense hurricane to make landfall in Louisiana in 164 years. At least one death has been reported. And Betsy, I know we talked about this. A lot of people think Katrina was stronger, right, but it was a Category 3, right?
It weakened just before landfall. Right. So when it made landfall, it was a Cat 3, but certainly destructive nonetheless.
Oh, certainly. You had other things going on there too with the levees and whatnot, which hopefully have been repaired since then. Yeah, so a lot of big cleanup happening down that way, certainly. All right, Russ, we'll check in with you again coming up at 6.
Well, Amazon is getting in on the smartwatch business. Today, the company announced its new health and fitness tracker called Halo, along with a subscription service and smartphone app. Betsy, this is going well beyond the basics. It tracks a user's emotional state somehow by listening to the tone of their voice. It also provides a three-dimensional rendering of the user's body with an estimated body fat percentage. That's a real ego boost. And monitors the quality of sleep. How about that? Do you want that checking you out and making sure that everything's going all right with you at all times, Betsy?
It's the whole voice tone thing. Like, you know, what's it going to do when I, like, raise my voice to my children? Violet, stop doing that. Is it going to be like, calm down, it's fine?
Yeah.
I'll be like, no,
How
it's
does it
not
know-
fine. When she puts the Barbie in the toilet, that's not fine.
Or what if I express, I'm just like, this is how I say I love you. I'm like, I love you. See, like if I say it like that, my phone's going to think I'm mad when really that's just how I say it, you know? So it's got to be smart. It's already monitoring our lives. I've got 3 Amazon Echoes listening to us in here right now. I might as well give Amazon just access to the rest of my privacy, so I'll probably get one.
Mike Polk, who loves aggressively. Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, Katy Perry, very true. Katy Perry and Orlando Bloom finally had their baby girl. I know I was waiting for it. I'll have all the hot details for you on her name ahead in Pop Break.
And speaking of cute babies, Matt Wentz is a dad again. We have pictures.
Woo!
Look at that. We're going to introduce you to his little dude coming up. We're also going to take a look at the forecast, so hopefully there's some good walking weather happening, and I think there is once we get through the weekend. We're going to talk about it all straight ahead. It's not so much what's new, but who's new. Meet Wyatt David Wentz, Matt's son. It was a boy. He was born yesterday afternoon. Matt says baby and mom Stephanie are doing well. Wyatt's middle name is David, named after Matt's late father. They can't wait for Emmy and River to meet their new little brother. What a sweet little man he is. And of course, you can see more pictures and send your congratulations to Matt on his Instagram feed, Wentz Weather, W-I-N-T-Z Weather. So I'm sure he's thrilled, and of course, we are thrilled for him.
That is a great, I just want to say, that is a really great name, Wyatt David. That is a cool name. That's a cool kid in school name, and that kid's going to benefit well from that. And he's got a good dad, good mom, so that kid's going to be all right in life. And I can't wait to see, within like probably the next 2 weeks, Matt having a Bjorn while doing the weather in his backyard and 2 kids throwing stuff at him simultaneously. That's going to be a hoot. Congrats, Matt and Stephanie.
Matt, you know, a lot of times they say men can't multitask. Matt kind of changes that dynamic completely.
I know. He makes everybody else look bad, and he's really doing some harm to our brand by comparison. But
the
still,
guy brand.
Good
Almost as much
too.
damage as the fanny pack did, certainly. Never going to let you live that one down. All right, let's take a look at what's going on with this forecast. If you honestly have one on, I'm just going to scream. We do have some partly cloudy skies going on and even a few thunderstorms out there. But over the next few hours, I think for the most part, the thunderstorms become more hit or miss. Temperatures are very warm, very muggy, and it's not exactly terribly comfortable to be outside if you are outside of the air conditioning for any amount of time. Here's a look at the radar right now, and you can see there's this kind of line of storms that's dropping south, but we also have a few little isolated storms that are still to come. So just keep an eye out on things. Remember our app, the WKYC app, has an interactive radar built right into it. It is super handy when you're out and about, and you can keep an eye on things, certainly. We're going to do a little tracking here because it's kind of fun and nifty to be able to do it. We'll start west this time. By the way, Portage County, you're severe clear at this point. That's some good news for you. We had a severe thunderstorm warning earlier, but that moved over into Mahoning County. Clarksfield, just to the east of Norwalk here, getting a nice little boomer coming down, good gully washer. That's going to fade down toward New London, south end of Wellington. You get into Sullivan, we're seeing some of those scattered showers too. West end of Medina County, really a strong storm here. Not severe, but a strong storm with plenty of lightning going on. A lot of times lightning is a harbinger of the health of a thunderstorm. You get a lot of lightning. That means you've got a really good updraft going on. So that seems to be the case here in the west end of Medina County, Lodi area, farther to the west. A heads up for you folks in Creston on that one. There you see it. I just said health of the thunderstorm, and that is a brand new severe thunderstorm warning that we have now that includes southwest and southern Medina County, northern sections of Wayne County. This is going to continue to move down toward Canaan, Rittman, over toward the Doylestown area, and I mentioned Creston, or even Wadsworth, maybe Westfield Center getting in on this action too. So just keep in mind, we probably are dealing with more high winds than hail out of this. Matter of fact, let's take a look. We'll pop the hail on first and see if there's anything to report. Nothing terribly great. You can just see a little blob there. That's not really exciting. But the velocity scan may show this is most likely where we're going to start to see the possibility of downburst winds with that. So we get the thunderstorm that is lofting the air upward. It gets cold, creates a lot of lightning, and then you can get a downburst wind. So my guess is we probably have a downburst signature that's going on there. So high wind threat here in Lodi. And again, that's going to fade right over I-71. Over toward the Canaan area as well. Let's take a peek farther to the east then into portions of southern Summit County, northern Stark County. Some good rain here, not a whole lot of thunder and lightning, but look over here toward Louisville, Alliance, down toward Minerva. Heads up for you folks. This is going to continue to fade off to the southeast as well. That we may see a new severe thunderstorm warning coming on that just based on lightning. So again, that's that principle that what goes up will come down. And when you throw gravity into the mix on all of that stuff, it can really make things a little bit more interesting. All right, let's take a look at these temperatures and the heat indices. Yikes, the feels like temperatures are in the mid-90s in a good chunk of northeast Ohio. Our frontal boundary off to the north is really what's pressing in here and giving us a chance for these thunderstorms this evening and tomorrow and Saturday, as what's left of Laura really kind of misses us off to the east. We're not expecting that to make too much of an impact directly here. National Design hour-by-hour forecast keeps the isolated storms in the area as we go through the evening. Watch tomorrow, though. More numerous showers and storms come through and will be coming in waves. So be prepared for that. We're probably going to have a couple soakers coming through tomorrow. We're going to do the same thing on Saturday as well. It's going to be very warm, very muggy, but the temperature's coming down with the rain and thunderstorms. By Sunday in your Universal Windows Direct forecast, that's when we clear out, we cool off, and then we recover back into the 80s as we head through next week. Mike?
Oh, I love your casual weather terms like soakers. I love it so much. And it's time for your pop break, everybody. Katy Perry and Orlando Bloom are finally parents. Amen. And it turns out Perry's been giving us clues about the baby's name the whole time. After what feels like a 2-year pregnancy, Katy Perry has finally announced the birth of her daughter, along with fiancé Orlando Bloom. Apparently, the Daisy singer has been dropping major clues as to the name of the baby all along, and we were all clueless. The pair released a pic of their new family member, Daisy, on Instagram this morning, thanking fans for their well wishes. Katy and Orlando didn't keep the attention focused on themselves for long, though. As UNICEF ambassadors, the couple took the opportunity to advocate for children all around the world who are in danger due to COVID-19. Good for those two ridiculously good-looking people. And everyone knows that if you want to be the lover of a Spice Girl, you've got to get with her friends. Remember the song? Sporty Spice is telling the world the reason that she thinks the girl group was never sexually harassed throughout their career was because men were petrified by them. Mel C said during a recent appearance on a podcast that no one bothered to come near them because you knew if you messed with one of us, you would have to deal with the other 4. So we always had backup. Friendship never ends. Amen, ladies. And America's Got Talent held a surprise reunion last night for one of the show's hosts. During a live Q&A, Judge Sofia Vergara took a question from an Ed in Hawaii and was happy to see that it was her former TV husband and Youngstown native, Ed O'Neill. The pair haven't seen each other in months after Modern Family's end earlier this year, so it was an emotional reunion for everyone involved. Time for a reboot, anyone?
Very nice report, Mike.
Betsy.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll say this. Whenever I inform people about pop culture, it just tires me out and makes me so thirsty. Hold on a second. Let me just... 1 second.
Is it a juice box? Is it a juice box? No. It's a Faygo. Yes. I love the man bag. The fanny pack is back.
That is good fanny pack Faygo.
And Mike, I just want to help you right now with your brand and everything. You are still single, correct?
Can you believe it? I mean, I don't know what's going on. I got a fanny pack, I got Faygo, I live here with a cat alone. What more do you people want?
You have a lot of costumes. I mean,
yeah.
Come on, ladies.
I'm the whole package. All right.
And he's a super sweetheart, too. All right, still ahead, another one of Mike's favorite places, the bathroom. We're talking about remodeling trends, Mike.
Just pile it on. Just keep it coming. And this little girl here does not hold back when it comes to speaking her mind, and I respect that. Her incredible reaction to her mom asking to be held. Stay tuned. Oh, by the way, we've got a pop quiz going on. Ooh. Today's pop quiz is a history lesson. It is President Lyndon B. Johnson's birthday, and nobody got me anything. Lyndon B. Johnson served as which number president? A, 35, B, 36, or C, 37? The answer when we come back. Stay tuned. Let's get to the answer to our pop quiz. We asked you which number President Lyndon B. Johnson served as. Betsy, do you have any guesses?
I don't have to guess. I cheated and looked.
But you're so honest for saying it. That's why we love you. The answer is B, 36. Some of you might have gotten thrown off by that whole Grover Cleveland serving in two different administrations deal, like I did, and guessed 35 or whatever. But it's 36. Happy birthday, Lyndon Johnson. I know he's gone, but still, whoever's still around who likes Lyndon Johnson. Congrats.
There you go. All right. Happy birthday, certainly. Thank you, Mike. I love the awkwardness. Anywho, a lot of people are using this extra time at home to redo, rethink, and remodel all that stuff that they've been putting off doing over the years. Well, today we're going to be helping you out a little bit, showing you what's new in bathroom trends.
Hi, I am Jill Kalo with Paint and Pain Renovations and Design, and I'm here at the Virginia Tile Showroom to show you the top 3 trends that we're seeing in bathrooms in new homes and in renovations. The first one is not necessarily a trend because it's so classic, but I specify it in about 50% of the bathrooms that I renovate, and it's that marble look. So you can do it with real marble, or you could do it with a porcelain marble that is meant to look like marble. It has a lower price point and it has a lot less maintenance. And we're seeing it paired with polished nickel or chrome fixtures. We're seeing a lot of freestanding tubs as opposed to those jetted tubs that take up, half of your bathroom. And the freestanding tubs have, just a better feel look to it. We are complementing the tile with either like a walnutty wood cabinet, gray cabinet, or white. A lot of times we're seeing it in a flat cabinet door style or the shaker door style. Second trend is pairing the black and white tile, putting it with a light oak cabinet. This isn't the oak cabinets from 1980 that have that orangey high sheen, got a flat sheen, no orange undertone to it. And a lot of people are doing this black finish on their fixtures. So oil rub bronze, the matte black is replacing that, or our satin brass. So again, this isn't the shiny brass from the 80s. It's satin brass or an aged brass. And it's a lot of combinations that we're seeing. So this is the polished nickel handles with the matte black, and then a black handles with the satin brass. Another trend we're seeing is herringbone. Herringbone's very classic, but we're seeing it with this like raw edge. You can do it on the floor or on your wall tiles. And then also hexagon, which is what you see on the floor here. We're seeing it from anywhere from 1 inch to 24-inch hexagon tiles. And you can mix the different tile patterns like they are shown here with the herringbone and the hexagon. One of my favorite trends is this bright, bold blue. I love blue. It makes a lot of people happy. I think it's Pantone's color of the year. And we're seeing it in a lot of different cool patterns. So this is a smaller herringbone. This is a 3D. This is a elongated hexagon. And one of my new favorites is this picket. We're seeing a lot in white, but I love it in this blue, and there's a lot of variation in the tile. Fish scales are big right now. We're actually putting it in our new renovations office in our kitchen. And this is not just for tile. You can bring in the blue through cabinetry. And when you use this glue, you want to use it because it's so bold. You either want to just do it on the floor and have all the other materials be neutral, or you can put it on the shower tiles or even just one feature tile. Again, they're bringing in that marble look, a lot of different pattern tiles, black and white tiles, and again, a lot of this blue.
It's okay. Tell the truth. If you use your garden tub as a hamper, we approve. That's pretty much the way it goes. Anyway, you've got to hear the conversation between this 3-year-old girl and her mother. How the toddler responds when her mom asks her to hold her. Well, it's worth a watch.
One, 2, 3, 4. Good evening. I'm Laura Queso, and I'm Russ Mitchell.
Mic check, 1, 2, 3. Good evening. I'm Laura Queso, and I'm Russ Mitchell. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. Do you need
Well, one of the reasons that I've always respected children is that they have a way of saying exactly what's on their mind. And that's exactly what 3-year-old Madison did when her mom asked her to be held.
You're gonna hold me?
I'm not gonna hold you. Hold you? Like, actually, real hold you? But no, I can't real hold you. I'm a big kid. I'm a baby. Baby don't pick up moms.
Now, her mom, Vicky, says that nothing that comes out of Madison's mouth surprises her anymore.
Wow, the neck roll too.
Yeah.
She had it going on.
Right?
I got to tell you, if I knew that that's the segment we were doing here at the end of the show, I absolutely would have brought Mike Polk Sr. onto the show as a special guest to talk about all the things that you said as a kid.
I'm going to have to hear about the fact that you just referenced him for the next 2 to 3 weeks, just so you know. He'll be like, "Did you hear Betsy say my name?"
Hi, Mike Polk Sr.
There you go. You just made his day and his month, so thanks. Hi, Dad.
All right. Well, Mike, thanks for sitting in today. Can't wait to see what we end up with tomorrow, certainly on What's New.